Okay, so we're about to go down a bit of a rabbit hole, and believe it or not, it all starts with a local plumber's website. Yeah, I know. But stick with me, because hidden inside this thing is this really fascinating story about just how complex and how connected our lives have actually become. So, let's get into it.
So you find this string of text: emergency plumbing, plumber near me, service, HVAC, IL, wheeling IL, plumber near me, HVAC, plumbing services 24/7. I mean, at first it just looks like a total jumble of keywords, right? But it's not. It's actually like a modern digital cry for help. It's not designed for a human to read. It's designed to be heard by a search engine.
So, when you're in a panic and you type something just like that into your phone, what do you actually get back? Well, let me tell you, the answer is way more complicated and honestly way more interesting than you'd think. All right, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll cover what you'd expect. Then, we'll pull back the curtain on what they really do. We're going to look at their super high-tech tools, uncover this kind of weird history lesson on their site, and then we'll put all the pieces together to figure out what a plumber even is anymore. Okay, let's start at the top. Section 1, more than just leaks. You know, this is the stuff we all think of when we hear the word plumber. It's really just the tip of the iceberg, the stuff we're all familiar with.
Yeah, exactly. Burst pipes, those sneaky hidden leaks, taking a freezing cold shower because the water heater decided to quit on you, or, a drain that's just hopelessly blocked. These are the classics, right? The big emergencies that have us scrambling for help at 2 in the morning. This is really the bread and butter of their business.
But that foundation, it supports something so much bigger. And that brings us to part 2, the complete home toolkit. This is where we start to see what these folks really do, the full picture. So you look at their whole list of services and you realize, wait a second, this isn't just plumbing. It's HVAC, heating and AC. It's restoration services for when things go really badly. And then you see this other category, which is like the understatement of the year. They're basically a general contractor for your entire house. And some of this stuff is just, wow. I mean, medical and laboratory plumbing, that's super specialized. Excavation, as in they will bring a backhoe to your house and dig stuff up. Gas leak repair. I mean, that's a huge safety service. And they even do general handyman stuff on top of it all. The scope is it's massive. So here's the bottom line. That old image we have of a plumber, just some wrenches and pipes, it's totally, completely out of date. Today's pro, they're managing your drains and your ducts, sure, but they're also dealing with wires and Wi-Fi. It's a whole different ballgame.
And that evolution brings us to what might be the most surprising part of this whole thing. Section 3, from pumps to processors. This is where we get into how unbelievably high-tech this job actually is now.
Okay, so let's start with something we kinda know, right? A sump pump. It's mostly mechanical. Its job is simple: get water out of the basement. Total lifesaver, for sure. But at its heart, it's a pump and a motor. Pretty straightforward.
But then, they also install smart thermostats. And okay, now we're talking. We're in the digital age. This thing connects to your Wi-Fi, it learns your schedule, it optimizes your heating and cooling. We've gone from a simple machine that just reacts to something that actually thinks ahead.
And that leads us to the top of the tech mountain here, the smart water shutoff valve. Now, this isn't just about being comfortable or efficient. This is about active, intelligent protection for your whole house. And yeah, you control it from an app on your phone.
And how it works is it's so simple, but so powerful. The sensors detect a leak, bam, you get an alert on your phone. And then, this is the amazing part, the valve automatically shuts off the main water line for you. It stops a catastrophe before it even starts. The plumber is now a high-tech disaster prevention specialist. How cool is that?
And it's not just about water. The tech keeps going. They're installing and managing the entire ecosystem of a modern house. We're talking fresh air ventilation systems, UV light air purifiers, even radon control systems. They're not just fixing things that break anymore. They're actively managing the health and the intelligence of your entire home.
Okay, so high-tech, multi-talented home contractors. I get it. That makes sense. But that brings us to, without a doubt, the weirdest part of this website. Section 4, a strong sense of place. Which raises a pretty big question. Why? Why is there a detailed history lesson about their town on a plumber's website?
Yeah,
I'm not kidding. Right there, next to the sump pumps and the air conditioners, is this whole timeline of Wheeling, Illinois, and it goes way back. It starts with the Miami Confederacy in the 1680s, goes through the first cabins in the 1830s, all the way up to a famous hotel getting torn down for condos in 1996.
And look, it's actually pretty interesting local history. But you just have to ask, again, what is this doing here? Why does my plumber need to tell me about what was happening in the 1600s?
And here's the answer. It's brilliant. It's not actually about history. It's about trust. This whole thing is a super sophisticated and honestly kind of brilliant signal. They're telling you, hey, we're not just some random service. We know this place. We live here. We're part of its story. They're proving that they're not just a company in the community. They are of the community.
Okay, so this all leads us to our final section. Let's pull all these different threads together and try to build a whole new definition for the 21st century plumber.
And I think it all starts with one number, 3. That's how many different official contractor licenses this one company holds. They're not just plumbers. They are also licensed HVAC contractors and licensed electrical contractors. So this isn't some jack-of-all-trades situation. This is a licensed master of 3 totally separate, really complex fields. So, let's build that new job description, right? What are they? They're emergency first responders. They're whole home systems managers. They're smart technology integrators. They're licensed multi-trade contractors. And, like we just figured out, they're a local community anchor. I mean, that is a universe away from just the person who fixes leaks. And you know what? With all that complexity, all that crazy expertise, it all comes back to this one simple promise on their website. Best service and prices with no hidden fees or other surprises. It all anchors back to that simple idea of trust. At the end of the day, that's all that matters.
So that just leaves us with one last question to chew on. Our homes are getting packed with more and more smart devices, all talking to each other. And things are going to get, well, weird. So when your super high-tech smart house starts feeling a little dumb, maybe the expert you need to call isn't some tech guru from a big box store. Maybe it's your local plumber. So, who are you going to call?